Testing 1, 2, 3. Recording in progress.
Good morning. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Insurance Benefits and Ledge Committee meeting for December 6th in the year 2023.
Okay, this meeting is being conducted virtually and in person, so I will do a roll call of the trustees to confirm attendance. Mr. Knox? Mr. Knox is here. Mr. Santos?
Present.
Ms. Gray? Mr. Bernstein? Mr. Sanchez? Mr. Oakham?
Here.
Mr. Green? Ms. Greenwood? Mr. Kehoe? Mr. Harris?
Here.
Chair Robbins?
I am here.
Staff participating in the meeting include CEO Santos Kryman, Deputy CEO Louis Lugo, AEOs JJ Popowich and Laura Guglielmo, Chief Counsel Stephen Rice, Legislative Affairs Officer Barry Liu, from Retiree Healthcare, Cassandra Smith, Director, and Kathy Magida, consultants Stephen Murphy, Debbie Donaldson, and Michael Zito from Siegel. Trustees, please use the raise your hand option to be placed in queue. At this time, we ask all meeting participants to mute your mics until you are ready to speak, and we may now proceed with the agenda.
We do not have a physical quorum right now, so we cannot actually conduct a meeting. Mr. Harris can't count until we have a physical quorum.
2449 doesn't count.
In order to invoke 2449, we have to have a physical quorum in the boardroom.
Okay.
JP.
Oh, okay. We have a meeting and just not vote?
Yeah, it's not like there's a ton of stuff on this agenda anyway, so.
I hope someone's noting the weakness in 2449 and we might get that changed in the future, because I agree, this is a little bit ridiculous that I need to physically be there. I'm here, but that's the law. So hopefully we can move forward maybe somewhere in the future and get that amended.
So, well, could we move right along then? Approval of the minutes. We've got minutes to be approved, but I guess we cannot approve the minutes.
No.
Public comment. Is there anyone here from the public wishing to address the committee? I don't see anything. Nothing in writing. Scratch public comment. Non-consent items. HR 957.
No can do.
There's really no, we can't do anything about that. So if you want to give us a quick, just a rundown on the Public Safety Retirees Healthcare Protection Act.
Yes, I'll be happy to do that. Good morning, Chair Robbins and trustees. So HR 957 is the Public Safety Retirees Healthcare Protection Act, which relates to the public safety officers tax exclusion benefit that's been in effect since 2006. What that benefit allows eligible public safety officers to do is to exclude up to $3,000 in insurance premiums. And an eligible public safety officer is somebody who either retires for disability or retires for service at normal retirement age. The current exclusion is up to $3,000, and what this bill would do is increase it to $6,000. And as you may be aware, earlier this year, the Secure 2.0 Act removed the direct payment requirement from this benefit so that members don't need to have their premiums directly deducted from their LACERA checks to be eligible for this benefit. So they could be paying premiums out of pocket and still benefit under this. So that the repeal of that direct payment requirement plus the $6,000 increase, could help some members achieve a higher tax exclusion.
I have had some interesting questions from people asking me how it was going to work since they wouldn't get a letter from LACERA documenting the fact that their premiums had been taken out of their retirement check. But I've just told them That's, keep your documentation, and if you get audited, it's between you, your documentation, your tax guy, and the IRS. So it shouldn't really be a problem, I wouldn't think.
No, and currently we do direct payments for certain carriers, so that would continue. The repeal of the requirement just gives the option for members to pay out of pocket, so they can still benefit.
Right. Anybody else have any questions about this? We will move right along then.
Mr. Chair, I would suggest that the chair write direction to the staff to move this to the vote of retirement. I believe that complies with the law of Mr. Rice.
Yes, that's been done before. That's fine. No, there are no actions being taken, so there's no committee recommendation.
Right, but certainly the chair can just direct the staff to move it directly to the board.
That would be a good way to do it, yeah.
Wait for committee action.
Okay, so then I'll just make the recommendation directly to the board.
Yeah, it's pretty uncontroversial, so. Okay, item 6, reports. A, engagement report, Mr. Liu.
Yes, thank you. So some items of interest this month. First item is some commentary about bringing back corporate pension plans. So as we all know, over the several decades, corporate pension plans have, kind of become less and less frequent. So 40 years ago, 88% of Americans who had retirement coverage were covered by a DB plan. By 2019, that was down to 28%. And then currently, only about 11% of private sector employees have a DB plan. And so if you look at, say, the funding of those plans, starting in 2000, they were funded at 123%. But over the years, after the dot-com bust, the funding went down, then went back to full funding around the Great Recession, and then it dropped again. So currently, according to Milliman, the top 100 corporate plans have a funded status of 103%. Part of that is due to the fact that higher interest rates are helping to increase the present value of these benefits. So, so the increased funding, along with some of the challenges that corporate employers have in retention challenges, it's kind of sparking a conversation about bringing some of these plans back, at least on a corporate side. And we kind of see that, an example of that in the next item, where IBM has sort of revitalized its cash balance plan. So back in the 1990s, IBM changed its pension plan to a hybrid pension plan. And there was even a lawsuit from older employees that were alleging there was age discrimination as a result of the change, although I believe IBM prevailed in that lawsuit. But then 15 years ago, IBM froze the cash balance plan and shifted to a 401k plan. But now they decided to shift back to that, seeing that their 401k plan is just not providing sufficient retirement security for their employees. So what's going to happen with this new plan is the 5% match that employees are currently getting in the 401k plan will instead go into the cash balance plan. So that essentially is sort of the pension portion of it. And so this 5% will fund a pension benefit, which members or participants can take either as an annuity, a lump sum, or a rollover, very similar to what our own members can do with their contributions on deposit. Next item is about CalSavers. So, even though a lot of people are covered by plans, there are many employees in California that aren't. So a lot of states have started their state-run retirement savings programs. Currently in California, as of the last time the legislature looked at this, they've required that all employers with at least one employee must either participate in this program if they don't otherwise offer a retirement plan. So currently CalSavers has about 600 million in assets. The next highest plans with assets are Oregon and Illinois with 215 million, 133 million. But just to give you an idea of the scale of California, the 613 million is larger than all other state-run plans combined. So, it looks like CalSavers is just chugging along and just increasing participation in terms of employers and participants, and also the growth in assets. Next item concerns the COLA increases. So obviously, last couple of years, we've seen a huge spike in inflation that's sort of been settling down now, but people are still feeling the pinch from this. So interestingly, a lot of jurisdictions with retirement plans, they haven't paid COLAs in anywhere from 10 to 20 years. So recently, Texas just approved a constitutional amendment to pay a COLA, the first one in 20 years, of either 2, 4, or 6%, depending on retirement date, and also some lump sum payments for older employees as well. What's interesting is that recent development is that even though the constitutional amendment passed, there's been a challenge to the election integrity of the vote about the machines not being certified. So it seems like that's going to maybe delay the payment of this benefit. So I think the legislature is going to look into, again, expediting that. And then in Pennsylvania, the state retirement system also hasn't paid a COLA in 20 years. And a lot of retirees in their 80s and 90s, they're receiving less than $20,000 a year in benefits. So two bills are either going to propose a 10 to 20% increase or a 15 to 24% increase. And the average age that would benefit from this would be around 81. So, it would boost their income in terms of providing a COLA to, in the face of high inflation. And then finally, in Kentucky, they're also looking at a COLA increase that hasn't been paid in 12 years. The average benefit across the 3 plans that are covered, county, state, and state police, it's about $18,000. And about 2/3 of these retirees receive less than $20,000 a year. So what this proposal would do is propose a 13th check of their current benefit, which appears to give a slightly bigger increase than, say, a monthly COLA benefit increase. And then the last item is that time of year again where the Internal Revenue Service announces its 2024 benefit limits. So the 2 limits that concern LACERA, one is the 415B benefit limit, which has increased from $265,000 to $275,000. So LACERA members whose benefits exceed these limits would instead receive the excess benefit in the LA County Replacement Benefit Plan. And then the annual compensation limit has increased from $330,000 to $345,000. And this only applies to members who start membership after July 96. Members who start before then aren't subject to any limit at all, at least as far as LACERA is concerned. But then, PEPRA members, which I think in our last meeting was a subject of discussion, they're subject to a lower limit. So for those who participate in Social Security, it's about $151,000. And then for those who don't participate in Social Security, such as our own PEPRA members, it would be $181,000. So that concludes my report. Happy to take any questions.
Anyone have any questions? Mr. Rice, since we now have a quorum, can I move back and approve the minutes and then vote on?
Take action on the legislative item? Yes, you can.
Good. Let's go back to the approval of the minutes for the November 1st meeting. There's a motion and a second. Please record your vote on the minutes.
We're going to do a roll call. Mr. Kehoe?
Aye.
Mr. Oakham?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Chair Robbins?
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously.
And I'd like to go to non-consent item 5A, the HR 957. And I need a motion to adopt a watch position on this. We'll move it to the whole board.
I'll move.
Second.
Any further discussion? You want to do a roll call?
Mr. Kehoe?
Aye.
Mr. Oakham?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Chair Robbins?
I'm an aye.
The motion passes unanimously.
And you're concluded with your business, Barry?
Yes, thank you.
We're on item D, staff activities report. Cassandra.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Last month I reported that CMS had reported the 2024 Part B premium increase to $174.70, which is an increase from $164.90 for the 2023 year. It was presented to the Board of Supervisors yesterday, and while I have not gotten the final notice that it was approved, I am positive that it was, because the analysis for both Chiron and Siegel both indicated that it was to their advantage to continue with that program. So we will, once I do get that approval or that final notice, be updating our website, as well as sending out the annual notification that we do to our members, letting them know that the Board of Supervisors have approved it and that we will be reimbursing the standard amount of $174.70 for the 2024 year. Also, this past Monday, while it's not on the staff activity report, I received notification from CVS that they will be refunding approximately 2,700 of our members that were charged a COVID vaccine copay during the period of May 11th through November 11th. The average refund is going to be approximately $34, and they should get that within the next 4 to 6 weeks. If they have any questions about it, then we're to refer them to CVS.
You said $34 or $100?
The average is going to be about $34. And that's all I have.
That's it. You know, when you're talking about the Part B premium reimbursement from the county, and I'm sitting here asking myself, how long will it be before the county gets to the position where they go, we're not going to reimburse for that anymore. Once they've got all of the county employees who no longer have the option of enrolling in Medicare or not, when at some point, is it conceivable to think that they may reach that conclusion down the road?
I believe there is, but I will defer over to Mr. Murphy for assistance in that.
I'm just thinking about.
I can't imagine.
Again, I think that the most important thing about kind of managing the overall cost of the retiree health program is to integrate with Medicare. So the idea of, again, keeping people in and making them kind of roll through that is still an underlying kind of foundational element to both your program and others. Yeah, could there come a time where it makes sense to say, well, everybody's in, why do I do this? But I just, that would certainly be counter to probably the vast majority of retiree plans that we see. Debbie, do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, I agree with that. It could happen, but I don't see it in the near future, in the perceived near future. And Medicare plans are the, is here to stay and good for your members, and how this is working is good for your members.
Trustee Robbins, just a random thought, still early in the morning, but I think the idea too is that at this point in time, I think we're just about at the precipice where the vast majority of enrollees are in Medicare Advantage plans. So again, that trend is also going to, I think, play a big factor in what would happen in the future.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Robbins, can I make a comment?
Herman.
Any changes regarding this matter subject to meet and consult with the county unions, and so therefore there will be some type of input by the county unions regarding any changes.
Keep in mind that this Part B reimbursement is outside of that contract. And so it can be taken away at any time if the county decides that it's not to their benefit anymore. So I'm not sure how that would play into their responsibility to go to the unions.
Cassandra, how many of those employees receive that reimbursement?
We're sending out approximately 39,000 letters to these members. So
we got
there's
39,000 on Social Security?
Yeah, there's approximately 40,000 members in these Medicare plans.
I can't imagine politically that they could ever do that. I mean, what are you talking, $2,000 times 39,000? What do you think? Am I wrong, Les?
No, I'm just laughing at your political thing. I can imagine anything political going on in this county right now, so nothing would surprise me. Sorry, but nothing. Sean?
Yeah, so just confirming this was not codified in the 1982 agreement, so this came subsequent to it, and it was agreed upon by the board and has been repeated. Do we know when did this start with the reimbursement?
1992, if I recall correctly.
Okay, got it. Is there any contractual agreements between both parties, or is it solely?
No, every year I have to, once they announce the Part B, I have to go and request approval to continue for the following year. So once CMS announces it, that's when I outreach and work with the county as well as our consultants and systems, of course, so that we can begin the process of getting that updated for the following year.
And is that calculated into OPEB costs do we determine this as a future cost, or is this something that's outside of that?
It is taken into consideration. Correct me if I'm wrong, Debbie. It is.
You are correct, Cassandra. That is part of your OPEB liability. This would be part of your OPEB liability because it is an obligation of the county. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So the argument would be that the OPEB trust fund and all of those negotiations would be encompassing of this in the future.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Cassandra, do we pay that amount of money, or do we get that money from the county to pay it?
We pay it up front and then the county reimburses us.
Okay, good.
Any further questions or comments?
Mr. Robbins?
Who was that?
Mr. Harris.
Me, JP. I just might point out to Mr. Santos that it was the county unions that brought us tier 2 in our retiree healthcare. So I think it's been made pretty clear to me that they're more concerned about the active employees than they are the retired employees, which I understand. But to say that, well, it'll all have to be negotiated with the county unions, all I say to that is, okay, we'll see how that goes.
Thank you very much. There being no other comments, items for future agendas.
We need to do the claims
What
experience.
do you got? Oh, I'm sorry. Claims experience. Almost skipped past that one. All right, Steve.
I'm going to pass the baton to Michael because he's there, and I think that's a better presentation than me on camera.
Okay, thank you. The first page contains the premium enrollment by carriers, and there's been minimal change from the prior report. Next slide, please. This contains the plan experience for LACERA's non-Medicare plan. Anthem's year-over-year trend decreased from 4.4% to 2.2% when compared to the prior month's report. Cigna's year-over-year trend increased by 1% to an 8.1% decrease as of October 2023 when compared to the prior month's report. And Kaiser's experience remains unchanged from the prior report. Next slide, please. This contains the Anthem plan experience, Anthem's claim plan experience by plan. For all Anthem plans, the year-over-year trend decreased from 6.3% to 5.7%. For prudent buyers plan, the year-over-year trend decreased from 23.6% to 19.7% when compared to the prior month report. Please note the aggregate claims increased by $1.6 million or 15.3% when compared to the prior period, while the enrollment decreased by 3.7% when compared to the prior period. Next slide, please. This contains the Kaiser utilization and remains unchanged from the prior report. Next slide, please. This contains the high cost claimant report, high cost claimant experience. Anthem's year-over-year trend decreased from 45.8%, from a 45.8% increase to a 3.3% decrease when compared to the prior report. Cigna's year-over-year trend increased by 1.5% when compared to the prior report, and Kaiser's experience remains unchanged from the prior report. Next slide, please. This contains the prescription drug rebates, which remains unchanged from the prior report. Next slide, please. And this contains the dental and vision claims. The dental claims year-over-year trend increased from 2.3% to 4.1% when compared to the prior report. The vision claims year-over-year trend increased from 6.4% to 7.6% when compared to the prior report. Thank you.
Michael, I could just add some comments. For background, we're currently working on the 2024-25 renewal process. We'd submitted a budget to the county through Cassandra, and we're currently doing some preliminary negotiations with your vendor partners. And then we have a face-to-face meeting scheduled on Thursday, January 11th. And then we'll look forward to bringing kind of the results to IBLC in February. So that's a quick update on the renewal process.
That's good to know.
In your CEO report, I had placed on there January 20th. However, as Steve indicated, there's a correction. It's going to be January 11th as opposed to the 20th.
Do you have any further, Steve, on federal legislation?
Working with Cassandra and staff on two items. One is the gag YAG clause attestation through the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021. It's essentially your insured vendor partners are doing that on behalf of their group plans on the pharmacy program, working with Cassandra to get that submitted. And that's consistent with what we're seeing for other kind of PBM oriented processes that you have with CVS. And the last item is your vendor partners are also working on establishing internet-based price comparison tools, which should have some information for members to look at the cost of all services effective January 1, 2024. So no action on the part of LACERA, but just giving you a sense of kind of how things are evolving in the marketplace. And that's what we have to report.
Thank you very much. Anyone have any questions for Steve? Thank you very much. Now future agenda items. Nothing.
I have nothing, and I have nothing for staff review.
Good of the order. Anyone has anything for good of the order? Just raise your hand. Save it for the board meeting. That's good. All right. Motion to adjourn. We are adjourned.
A 9:10 for the board meeting. 9:10. 9:10.
Shit.